All right, everybody. We're live for the fourth time today.
It's like a commercial.
I know, right? Like a blooper reel.
Yeah, it is.
Like a serious blooper reel today. But we're live for the fourth time today in the last 20 minutes. But hopefully this will work out this time. My name is Dekeither Stamps. So go ahead and share the video again. Like it, snap it, chat, tweet it. I'm sure a couple folks will chime back in. Go ahead. There you go. Go ahead, chime back in. I appreciate y'all for hanging in with us, Dr. Carthan,
My
Rocky
line
Woods.
sister.
Your line sister?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead and do your sign.
Of course. Who's not going to do it? I'm just saying.
All right. Well, good stuff. We're talking about community development today. And community development is a very important topic in the black community. A lot of times in Jackson, we talk about potholes and crime and all these different issues, right? But I want to take a moment to talk about solutions and wealth creation. Wealth creation should be the first thing that we're talking about because it's vitally important to us, the creating of wealth, right? Poverty is one of our biggest issues, so wealth creation should be our biggest, target for solution. So in Jackson, we have a lot of opportunity. Some people see blight, some people see crime, but some folks who really want to focus on their long-term wealth see solutions. So let's talk about solutions, and then we're going to, be interactive here. So post your comments and your questions as we talk about how to use real estate as economic development for yourself, right? So that you can be financially stable for the future. So, so tell the folks again a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go forward.
All right, so let's try to do this again. I'm Brandee Williams and work with Exit Nelson Realty. I'm actually an associate broker with Exit. What I do is obviously help people be able to find them a home, whether it's investment property, whether it's your first-time home, it's your second home, and everything in between, or sell your home. So we're located here in Jackson, and we really want to teach and educate buyers about obviously home ownership and how you can be a homeowner.
Sure.
So that's what I do. So whether it be property, and even we do property management for people who, buy the homes but don't have the understanding on how to keep this going, how to keep it up. We are actually going to help you with that process as well.
Okay. So in Jackson, we need all levels of housing.
Correct.
We need homeless housing. We need housing for lower income folks. We need housing for middle income folks. We need housing for higher income and super wealthy. We need it all. So just because we may be talking about one area of housing doesn't mean that we're excluding the needs of the other areas, but all of it's wealth creation, right? So think of housing at all levels as wealth creation, and look at and think about ways that you can participate based on your own interests, your own abilities, and your own desires. So,
Fair enough.
So pick a piece of low-hanging fruit off the tree.
Low-hanging fruit. Well, I think at the end of the day, low-hanging fruit will be the homes that people see, and you ride around Jackson and you're just like, why are there so many abandoned homes here? I think that's low-hanging fruit because at the end of the day, you can perhaps either get into a situation where you can buy those homes, and you're like, okay, well, wait, I'm going to buy it, but what am I going to do with it?
Right.
We're going to fix it up.
Right.
And we're going to rent it out. Because at the end of the day, to your point, there are so many people who need homes.
And no one pays your mortgage like other people.
This is true.
Other people pay your mortgage real well. So think of it like that. Even if you just, the mortgage and insurance and taxes may add up to $500 a month, and you may be charging $800 a month. Right.
That's a positive cash flow.
That's a positive cash flow. You get you 5 or 6 of those, and they pay your mortgage, and you just manage this thing. Or you can get someone to manage it for you.
We manage it for you. And again, like Veronica said, everyone wins. It's an investment. But even if, let's just say, you want to pool together with you and a couple of your friends, you can do that. And you all could be able to buy this low-hanging fruit and essentially be able to manage it yourself. Or, you all do like, in certain areas like, up north in Chicago and New York and even in California, there are pooled investors. And what that means is that it'd be like Dekeither, myself, and another individual. We all give into this pot. So essentially what you're saying is that, okay, everyone comes with a certain dollar amount, and we're going to go buy this particular property, and then we all obviously share it. Now, of course, when you only have one, and that third, if you only have $300, again, everybody makes $100. But the object of that is to continue to do that a couple of times,
That's
where
right.
you all have more of a cash flow. Once the home is paid for, then obviously the split becomes a lot better.
That's right.
So think about it like that. It doesn't necessarily mean like, well, you know, we're not gonna make any money ever. No, I mean, you're not gonna get those type of returns even if you put your money in a bank. But you could get more money if you could pool your money together and then buy the homes that way.
You're right. And let's go practically. It's tax season. Folks are getting thousands and thousands of dollars in taxes, you know, for those folks.
Yeah, I just actually seen an article about someone who took their tax money and she paid her rent up for 6 months. And some people were like, well, why would you do that? No, I think it was a year. And people were like commenting like that was stupid. Why would you do that? I mean, you could have did something else with that money. And she said at the end of the day, it made sense for her to have somewhere to sleep as opposed to going out and getting shoes and clothes and things that didn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about it, if you don't pay where you live, your landlord can come in there and evict you, and you and your
That's right.
kids are going to be on the street.
That's right.
To just let you all understand, they have mortgages, they have insurance and taxes. No one sits there and tells them, well, it's okay that you can be late, because at the end of the day, it goes against them. So you have to understand that her priority was to pay for her and her children, and that's what she stated, because at the end of the day, she wanted to be able to make sure they had somewhere to stay. The other part to that is, I just read that a young lady lived in New York. She had over about $230,000 in student loan debt.
Oh, this is a great story. Y'all get ready. Go ahead and share the video so your friends can hear this
everyone.
story.
I mean, everyone has student loans. Matter of fact, just go ahead and share it right now, because I know we all have student loans. Trust me, I had them too. We can talk about how I got out of it.
Right. So
But,
talk about this story. This is wonderful.
She literally had over $230,000. Literally, and again, she was in New York, so you know. That's what she did. So anyway, she was like getting out. She finally graduated. She has all this debt. She got a job, and then realized, I'm not making enough money to pay my student loans back. Everybody faces that same situation. So what happened was she decided, maybe I should move back home with my mom. And so the thought of that was kind of like, I don't know. But her father got sick, so she wanted to help her mom. So she moved back to Chicago, and she essentially lived with her mother, and of course now she got another job, and so she decided to, by her living with her mother, she was going to pay her student loans back. So she started paying them back, and she's like, okay, but I'm still not going to be able to pay these back the way I want to. So what she did is she actually, from my mistake, so she was gifted a property. So again, gifted meaning her mother gave her the property, no charge. She then said, okay, but Mom, I don't think I want to live in the house. I want to just rent it out. So mother was like, okay. So mother let her rent it out, and she made money. So she used the money from her job as well as this rental income to pay the student loans back. She gets married. So her now and her husband still live with her mom. Now again, I get it. It doesn't look good. But guess what? She had a plan. She says, let's pool all the rest of our money together. We just talked about that a few minutes ago. And let's buy another property. She bought another property. She got up to sending the student loans $10,000 a month. That's between her income, his income, whatever else they had going on, rental income, $10,000. She paid off $230,000 in about 3 years.
Now, that's going all in.
All in. That's all in.
And sacrificing, because
Yes,
debt
she
is
said.
a burden.
Yes.
Debt is really a noose. You know, that's how I was taught to think about debt. It is a noose around your neck. And the more you get, it starts to sink down and it starts to clench on you, because you hand it down to your children too, and you basically hand out nooses. And that's basically what we've been traditionally doing in our community, is just creating nooses and then handing down nooses, multiple generations down. And we got to stop that. But what we can do, so how can I sacrifice? Like, do I really need a big BMW? Like, you know, do I really need this car? You know, it's the average person, right? Now, for your job, you know, professions like yours, you have to have that kind of.
Yeah, good luck.
You got to have.
But I mean, it can still be reasonable.
Right. It's business.
It's business,
Right.
but it's still reasonable.
Right. It's reasonable. It's
Yeah.
inside your budget, you know. But you know, certain things, you know, for your business, you do different things. But if you're just regular, just trying to work, you know, Get a Camry.
He's a Toyota man. I like Toyota.
Yeah, get a Camry. Get a Corolla. I got a 1998 Toyota Corolla outside.
I get it. I got a Camry. I mean, I have a Toyota Highlander. I love it. But, Latasha, you're right. At the end of the day, people are comfortable being in debt. You think about it. I mean, I at one point went and was doing some classes with children, and I would go to the high school level right before they got ready to graduate, and we talked about what their next steps would be after graduation. And I literally will get students together and say, let's talk about this. You're about to get ready to graduate. How much does everyone make? And so I let the children tell me what they made. And so $2,000, $3,000, kids will tell you anything. And so he's like, okay, so let's talk about how much our rent is and where we're going to stay and, expenses. We would literally list all these things. And so then we saying, okay, well, if we go out and take these student loans and we go out and do all this again, I'm not saying don't get a student loan. What I am saying is use it appropriately. What are you going to do once you start looking at your money and saying, I have nothing left? There is like $30 left or $50 left after my paycheck. What do? You have to create another revenue source.
So I would rather, if you're going to have debt, have good debt.
That's true.
Property is a good debt.
That's a good debt.
Right, that's a real good debt.
Sell it.
You can sell it,
get the equity out.
All types of things. And right now in Jackson, a dilapidated house is going for, $5,000, $6,000. The ones that need rehabbing, are going for, $10,000, $15,000. You put $15,000, $20,000 in it, you got something you can rent out. I got a brother who purchased a dilapidated home, and so he basically went to the bank and said, hey, I want to buy this house. It was like $6,000, and right here in Jackson, he took $700 and put down on the house, bought it, moved in the living room, fixed up the bathroom, fixed up the kitchen, little bit by little bit. And about 6 months later, he had walked through the whole house, fixing it up. Now, mind you, if you borrow $6,000, the note on that is not that much.
I have to stop for a minute and actually say hello to my broker, Fabian Nelson, at Exit Nelson Realty. If you have any questions, definitely give us a call. But he just made the best, one of the comments saying that 95% of the millionaires in the United States invest in real estate. Think about that. I mean, we think about that. 95% of millionaires have real estate. I mean, we think about all these, again, we can get into a lot of different occupations, but one thing that millionaires do is invest in real estate. Now, they can have other multiple streams of income coming in, but real estate is going to forever be around. Why? Because if you think about it, everyone is not going to be able to purchase a home. I mean, I get it. Student loans, debt to income ratio, a lot of things that we spoke about on the radio, those are factors that are real.
That's right.
But if you think about it, people are going to have to rent until they get their financial situation differently. So in that process, you can be the owner of this home, helping these people either get their financial situation together. Then they move on to a home. Guess what? There's still going to be someone who's going to be able or need to be able to rent and during that time. So it's just a cycle.
Right. So what he's done now, this brother owns 4 homes.
Okay.
So he fixed the first one up, got it to a point where it was stable. Then he went and purchased another one, right? Rented the first one out. Then he went and moved into the dilapidated property again. Fixed it up. And I'm just talking about this hustle mode now.
Okay.
This is straight hustle mode. This is not like the normal,
Right. Well, I guess I want to make sure that for some of the ladies listening to this, we're not saying go out there and you live in there. And this for males that can do this. Okay?
I'm talking to my brothers now. Brothers need to understand that, some folks want to floss and boss. But,
exactly.
But if you really want to hustle, this brother, when he fixed the house up, he moved out of the house, moved into another house that needed rehabbing, started fixing it up. Now he owns 4 houses. And now he's building the house he really wants. But he has 4 other streams of revenue prepared. So, brothers, if you can make it to 30 and make good decisions financially, the rest of your life will sort of work itself out. Right? It'll sort of work itself out. And you can use the opportunities right here in Jackson to help it work out. Because once you got cash flow, you can work a lot of your problems out if you have the resources, right? And I'm not saying money is the answer to everything. But what I am saying is it helps get some of these resources together to solve some of these issues. So when you start getting ready to, prepare to get in a relationship and get married and provide for your family, you can provide things. Like the sister she was talking about in Chicago, whose mother here's a piece of property, and she used that. But that means her mother had to have been doing something.
That's true.
Right. And father had to have been doing something to prepare to do that for the young folks, right, for the child. And what I'm saying is I want other folks to be able to have the same opportunity, because when I was growing up, my mom taught me have 2 bikes, one to ride, one to rent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And you can take, pieces of a bike and put one together. And you can say, hey, you want to ride bikes with us? Give me $1.
And you charge your friends to ride a bike?
Yeah, it's my bike.
See, this is hustle mode then, obviously. A new
but we
level
have to get folks into that mindset, because that's how you move forward. But that same mindset, and a lot of my friends who I hang out with have the same mindset, group the same way.
Okay.
And now it kept us out of crime, because we always had our own thing. We don't need to sell dope to make any money.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like my daughter. When in the 6th grade, she started selling candy at school. Next thing I know, she got a whole sack full of candy, and she got a boyfriend on the other side of the school selling candy too.
And
by the time she was in high school, she had a trunk full of stuff.
Making money.
Cooler. After, if you can sell a Snicker bar after band practice is frozen.
Or even have football practice or basketball practice.
All of it, because it's all at the same time. So she wanted a car to make money with, right? But my point is, we have to do this with this property in Jackson, because all these dilapidated houses, there are people who are buying a lot of it.
A lot.
I mean, I know someone who just bought 200 parcels of property. 200.
Do they even live here?
They live here.
Okay.
But they bought 200 parcels of property, right? And that's what I call being a part of the wealth creation for the future. And that's what we have to do. I'm not saying you go buy 200, but I am saying, through the Neighbors First program with the city, where you can purchase the lots next to you in your neighborhood that are city-owned for $10 or $50. The state of Mississippi owns property, and the state is broke, right? So what the state of Mississippi is doing now, since they have economic challenges, they are getting rid of property to get it back on the tax rolls to flush out the coffers for next year.
Exactly.
But this is an opportunity. Between now and August in Jackson, you need to be buying this property, because in August, the state's going to have an auction. It's going to be online, and folks all over the world will be buying this property, and you won't be able to buy it in the future. So, between now and August, and that's the reason I want to bring you on here, is to, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're going to have to talk about it.
All right. So, buy the property, because the state-owned property is a great opportunity to move forward. If you're buying a piece of property, there are lots out here for $500 and $600, for a half acre, and you're not gonna get a half acre of dirt. Even some people have issues with the taxes. I got you. But the property only costs you $500 or $600. You can work through that because of the price of the property. Yeah, taxes are lower in other places, but you don't get a half acre of land for under $1,000 in Madison County. Didn't happen. Right, so you can balance the thing out like that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other opportunities that you see, on the real estate side.
Okay. Well, the other thing that you just mentioned, which I think is huge, is to your point. Let's say you buy a couple parcels of land. Let's say that you are buying this property here in Jackson, and you are now in a position to buy multiple property on the street. Now, let me tell you what you do. You're actually setting yourself up to be able to control the street.
That's right.
I mean, I get it. You're tired of looking at drugs and crime and whatever issues are on these streets. Own it. If you own the street, I can control who I put in there. I can control what goes on there. The rules in my lease are very specific. If there's X, Y, and Z on here, you got it. I mean, we could, that from a legal standpoint, again, I'm not a lawyer, but you can legally talk with your attorney, and they can make sure that it's all within the law in terms of how you can structure, again, your street. then you will grow a community with just your street. People will want to say, I'm going to stay here because guess what? Everyone does the same thing. Everyone's cutting their grass. Everyone is, picking up paper. No one parks cars or grass. The thing that we have gotten away from is homeowner associations.
Right.
Why? I don't know. But if you think about it, I know people say, well, I don't want people to tell me how to, what I should do in my house. No one's going to tell you what to do in your house. We're telling you how you're going to control your dynamics on the outside of the house. People want to stay where it's nice, where it's pretty, where it's well kept up. Your value of your home goes up. The equity we spoke about earlier is still there because the value is there. Value goes down when you have an area where no one cuts the grass, no one is there to keep it up. No one wants to paint. Everyone wants to kill the grass. There's nothing out there. That's what value does. That's where your value, and that's why it leaves. It's not because of anything.
Hey, Kim, how you doing? Hey, Laura, how you doing? Thanks for joining. I appreciate y'all for chiming in.
As well as, so people have to understand from that standpoint, that's what value is about. It's not just to say, well, people moving out, certain people are moving in. No. If you don't keep up your area, the value goes down. No one wants to buy anything and spend a lot of money for it if it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. So keep that in mind. So we can go in there, we can buy this street up, or you can buy several houses up. One or two things happen when you have that domino effect. You either say, the person that doesn't keep it up says, wow, I'm kind of upset that everybody else's house look good and mine doesn't. And they either change or they decide to move.
Sure, you got a great point, brother. He says, this gives you the opportunity to make a difference in your community. What a legacy you could leave.
Hey, Troy. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. I really want to let folks just conceptualize this. Like, in my neighborhood, when I moved and I retired and I came back, I bought a house in the neighborhood I grew up in. And so did my sister, so did my aunt, and I have about 4 other cousins. We all live in the same area. And we recreated Village.
Okay.
But you couldn't do that if the price tag for the property was so high. Let's say if the houses were, $200,000 a piece. Well, we wouldn't have been able to do that, right? But if the houses are below $50,000,
you can do it.
Now, everybody can do it,
yep.
Right? We're at different economic levels, but everybody can do it.
Right.
But we've used this opportunity to make our family stronger.
Yeah. Communities.
Community, right. We got to recreate Village. So let's wrap this conversation into the mindset of, okay, it takes a village to raise a family.
Right.
And let's do this on a personal level. I practice what I preach because it feels good to drive home through my neighborhood. I can stop at my dad's house, I can stop at my sister's house, I can stop at my aunt's house, a couple cousins.
Right.
Especially if I'm hungry.
He's thinking about food.
Hey,
but to his point,
I eat all day long.
He's right. Think about it. If you live in, I know we see a lot of stuff on TV. We see these people who think that, guess what? They kind of come off like they have it all together. Everything is going great. We don't know what happens behind the scenes. But one thing we can say is that when you have real estate and you have affordable real estate, you can actually live like some of the people you see on TV.
That's right.
At a fraction of the cost right here in Mississippi. So that's what this really is about, is understanding that you can live like some of the people. And it doesn't have to be a far-fetched goal. It is not a marathon. We're not running. You're not going to get there overnight, trust me. But you can get there. And so one way, again, is through real estate. Fabian has stated earlier, 95% of the Americans invest in real estate. That tells you something. Again, pooling your money together, talking with family and friends, start saving money. If you're going to do something, save money. Use the money you have in your house to be able to do it. If you need help, if you want more questions, obviously this is going to be a shout out for Exit Nelson Realty. Call us. We'll be more than happy to talk to you.
Go ahead.
My number, 601-454-2370.
Some stuff we can't do on the radio.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to do a Facebook Live video, because we got folks out here who are ready to do that. If you are from one of those organizations, go ahead and post your information in the comment section, your website, phone number, email, and so forth, so folks can, because this is how you spur economic development.
Yes.
Talk about some of the areas that are in your that are around Jackson that you can just off the top of your head think about properties.
currently in terms of like right now need to have for
like,
sale? Okay, so right now, right off Northside Drive, there are several. There's a $8,900 property right now. I need an offer. If you want to go ahead and bid on it, you can. Proof of funds letter is needed. And what a proof of funds letter is, just to simplify, is we just need something from the bank stating you have these funds available, and we do an offer. And you can basically, I'll walk you through that process and what that looks like. But what you will see is that there's $8,500 properties around here in town. I just seen one that was $5,500. There's some $13,000 properties. There's some $21,000 properties. There are several properties here in Jackson. Again, you talking about changing the community, buy property. You need people. I mean, there's obviously contractors. There's obviously people that can do the work. Yes, a lot of these properties will require work. I'm not going to say they don't, but they're manageable. It's affordable.
Right. And let me open up another idea here, or another piece of this. A good friend of ours, Mr. Jim Johnson, Dr. Jim Johnson, has a business called Revitalize Mississippi. And they will restore property, fix dilapidated property for you, for absolutely free.
Really?
They'll clean the lots for you. So,
Wow.
talk a little bit about a few more opportunities. My doorbell's ringing. Be right back.
Okay, so those are just some literally. I mean, I can look up and actually, depending on comments and things like that, I can tell you what's for sale. Again, a lot of these properties that's for sale will require you to be able to have your proof of funds letter. We will make an offer on those properties, and within 21 days, we can close on the property, and essentially, you will be the owner of that property moving forward. That's it. You will now then own the property. Again, everything will go through an attorney, and so we will do everything right and in order. And so you will go through this process, and then after that, you will basically own the property. And then you can start making the repairs. You can start making the updates, and start little by little, so that you will be able to ultimately be able to rent that property out and get it on the market. There's housing assistance programs. You could, everyone knows about HUD. You can rent it out to HUD. HUD is in need of properties. I mean,
That's right.
I kid you not. There's several, there's agencies here that are looking for property, even from HUD to veterans to some of the nursing homes. There's just not enough of them. So you can make your home, let's say you have a need for services where you're an RN or a caregiver, CMA, and you want to be able to help, maybe be able to look into that. Again, go through all of the laws, make sure, again, that you're going through your, okay. Go through all of the, we will definitely make sure you go through, I'm going to suggest that you go through, if you want to open up a home-based business like that, go through the state, making sure that those things are in place in terms of the actual licenses and stuff like that. But you can start that once you get ready to get your house rented and it's ready to be marketable to that. Fabian asks, can prospective purchasers get mortgages for the lower priced homes? I think you spoke about that earlier today.
Yeah. One thing that I've been successfully helping some folks with is some of these properties you may not get a mortgage for, right? But I had a few brothers that don't make a whole lot of money, but they were able to get a business loan for $15,000, and they purchased the property, and they started using that money to fix it up. And then they moved in. That's how the brother I was talking earlier.
Okay.
He wasn't able to get a mortgage.
Right.
He couldn't qualify for a mortgage for the property.
Correct. But he got a loan.
But he got a business loan. He actually borrowed it against his expensive car he had.
Wow.
Kind of backwards, right? but he's now worked his way out of that old lifestyle of paying $70,000 for a car.
Okay.
And then turning around and renting something for $900 or $1,000 a month.
Typically, your banks are not going to let you do a mortgage less than $50,000. Typically, it doesn't. Everything about $45,000, $50,000. You need to be able to have. They think the bank really wants you to have cash or a bank loan and things like that. And so, if you do have equity, you have some collateral. The bank definitely will be more than inclined to be able to look at that. I mean, banks do lending, and they are in the lending business. A lot of banks are looking for opportunities, but again, you have to be able to show them that they're going to be able to get their money back. So,
hey, Jennifer and Taker, all the way from Florida, congratulations on the engagement. Congratulations, and we definitely miss you here in Jackson, Mississippi, and we see you doing your thing out there. Great news report. Everybody remembers Jennifer Ortega, so we really appreciate you for chiming in. But again, there are opportunities out here, right?
A lot of
To go out, secure some financial future that's going to be stable. A lot of opportunities for debt. We got check cashing places everywhere. But I won't give you too many, right? But how do you reverse? We reverse that mindset with conversations like this, and just think about ways if you can free up, like an investment property. If someone wanted to invest in a piece of property, what would the normal pay? Like, let's say if you did something for like, $20,000.
Okay.
What would it cost? Just generally,
Generally.
Generally, on a monthly basis, if they went and financed, they got their insurance and such. What would it cost for something like that?
Okay, so I understand the question correctly. We financed $20,000. Have we put any money into the house?
We don't put any money into the house yet. We're just a purchase one.
Oh, you talking about? I mean, depending on what again, we're not going to get a mortgage.
We're not gonna get a mortgage.
You know that. So just make sure you say that. So you're not going to have 30 years to pay that $20,000 off. Right. Maybe about 4 to 5 years. So what? 4 or 5?
Like a car.
Yeah. Let's just say $400 on give or take. Well, let's just say for even $400 will be your payment because again we have a shorter time to pay that money back, and it does depend on the interest.
So I brought that up to say that instead of buying something expensive, $400 a month, right? A lot of people could come up with $400 a month, whether we stop eating out, changing in lifestyle, changes in the type of car notes you may have. Okay. Something like that, right?
Yeah,
you can come up with $400 a month.
Right.
But that $400 a month investment could, over time, become a rental property.
Right.
They could turn around after you fix it up. And fixing it up doesn't have to happen immediately.
Yeah.
You can get in there. We've done it right here at our community center on Raymond Road. We've just been doing little project by little project. We bought the property, and every week we're fixing and patching. We got more tools than anything else. We're continually working on this stuff. But you can do the same thing and rent it out. And now, apartments are going for $1,000 a month and rent or more here in Jackson. So to rent a house, people will definitely pay
less, and they get more room. One comment that Fabian stated was that it's very important to have a good banking relationship. Your bankers, they will lend you money to purchase homes that are sold at a lower price. But again, they want to be able to see that based on your relationship with the bank. They want to be able to see that you've been putting money in. They can see that, okay, this is a person, we can see that you're sound and it's not going to be a risk. And everyone wants to make sure that their investment is safe. So keep that in mind. You definitely want to go ahead and start, making those relationships start. If this is something you want to get into, again, call us. We'll be more than happy to be able to walk you through that process. But you want to be, some things that I cannot help you with is in terms of, you having that great relationship if you haven't been doing right with the money that they've already seen in your bank. But if you can go ahead and start making those, relationships, you're doing right with the money and the money that you're getting in, even from your own accounts, then people can say, okay, guess what? I really do want to lend to you. I want you to be able to, have this money. And that's what it's about in order to be able to change the dynamics of where you live and, again, for not only yourself, but your kids. You think about being able to pass down, houses to them. For the most part, houses are going to be around.
Let me tell you a story about my grandfather.
Okay.
Now, my grandfather, John Henry Sturgis, was a janitor at the elementary school in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. And in 1968, he walked into the car dealership and purchased a brand new Lincoln Continental. And this was in a time period where most black folks went to the used car lot. White folks would sell their cars and, black folks would buy them and so forth, right? It wasn't normal for a black person to go buy a new car, especially in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. But what he would do, and what he did his whole life, was he purchased a lot. Like, he was a janitor, right? So he purchased a lot towards the beginning of the school year, maybe it's a tax sale or something like that. Okay. Then he started working on it, and by spring break, he'd be out there, building a house and patching it up if it was a rehab or building it from the ground up. Okay. By the time the summertime rolls around, he's putting a roof on the thing. Right? Wow. So by the time he died, there were so many houses around town that he owned just by that simple process, right?
One house at a time.
One house at a time. Don't take the money and go buy a Lexus in the beginning. Do it later, right? When you have to, dispose of some of this cash. do it later on.
Let's talk about that for a second now. So,
Let
just...
me finish
okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish the story. So, my grandmother, today, still participates in that wealth creation.
Oh, yeah, because we're talking about one house, and it's around for a while.
Right, one house at a time. There are people still paying rent, living in the houses, one house at a time. I'm talking about now it's over like 20-some houses, over this time period he was working with the school system. So that's how you can slowly walk through this, but provide a foundation for your children. Children went to college, children had houses. When my mother got out of college and needed somewhere to stay, he said, all right, stay in the house over there. Being able to do that helps your children long term.
Correct.
When you can say, hey, all right, you're down on your luck, you got to follow the rules, do this, do that, but here you go. That's called advanced provision. That's why I lean on my brothers. That's what you need to be spending your money on. Stuff you can provide for and are used to help provide and add more provision. Don't be selfish like a lot of these brothers are today, buying these expensive cars, because we don't care about that stuff. And they really don't. We got guys competing with people, other guys, economically on wasted money.
Exactly.
Like who can waste the most money?
Exactly.
Right? Substantive stuff. Adds to your worth,
exactly,
right? and your self-esteem. So brothers, put that stuff to the side. I had a brother here yesterday. He spent $12,000 on some rims. I was like, this is ridiculous.
And we could have taken that same $12,000.
Right.
I can tell you about several properties right here in Jackson that he could have gotten. Right. And a lot of people do call me and they ask me like, well, how do you get started in this, and how can I get started into this? And one thing you got to say that you just made, I want to piggyback on what you said earlier, was when you get the money. Let's say, okay, you're clearing. I'm just gonna throw out $400. Let's say you're clearing $350. This is again after taxes and insurance and your note. Let's say you have $350 to $400 that you actually have positive cash flow. Do not go spend this money.
That's right.
It's not enough to really necessarily ball on or just have a great time with. This now needs to come back. You need to basically put this money up, because then there may be repairs. There may be other situations that come up with the house, and you want to be able to have the money. So again, having that money there in reserve over time will give you, again, the type of financial future that you want. But again, you do have to buy a couple houses to be able to really see it blossom the way you may want to with big numbers. But it does start one house at a time. And to your point now, that money, again, those people may leave. They could financially get their credit together to purchase a house, and they decide they want to purchase something else. And then you have still another tenant that wants to come back into that same house. That house will be there. People are going to forever need to rent somewhere. You can be able to own a community or a street. Again, you own the street. You make it where your street is like, again, one of the best streets there. People won't want to leave. They're going to want to be able to stay there because they know that the street is safe, the street is clean. They love their environment. They love what the neighborhood does, and that's how you continue to keep your houses on that street fully rented.
Hey, I want to appreciate Mr. Fabian Nelson and those 6 others who shared the video. Take a moment now, if you just tuned in, this is Dekeither Stamps and Miss Brandee Williams talking about community reinvestment and opportunities right here in Jackson.
Yes. For
you to be a part of your own wealth creation, because it's happening. In 15 years, you will not be able to purchase property for $500 and $600 for a lot, or $3,000 or $4,000 for a dilapidated. You just will not. Well, first of all, they won't be here.
Yeah, they're gonna be gone. I mean, we have people from all over calling, and investors from California. We talked about New York earlier, Atlanta, places where again they realize that you cannot find homes for less than $50,000, and then do some work on them and then rent them out at great rental prices. To your point, they're not going to be around forever. You have to get in on it. You have to want to, again, pool your money together. Get with your family and friends or whoever you have in your community that you all can see that I want to get in on this investment, and I want to be able to buy real estate in order to do that. Definitely, again, Exit Nelson Realty, Brandee, I will definitely be there to help you. And you can give me a call and we can go ahead and we can have this discussion.
Let me give you another testimony. There are 2 sisters they're not biological, so they're just black women, two sisters who used their income tax money to purchase a duplex. And now they are living in this duplex. Right?
Okay.
So they took both of them got between like $7,000 and $8,000 back from their income taxes.
Wow.
They put their money together, purchased a duplex. Now they have a stable living situation with an affordable payment, and they can focus on long-term investment. These are low-hanging fruit things.
Low-hanging fruit
that you see all the time in Jackson.
And if you think about it, if you get a duplex, start there. I know someone here locally that did that. They lived on one side, they rented the other side out, and then their family grew, and they had to move. And again, they stayed in Jackson, sold them a house. Now they're renting out their duplex. One side of their duplex pays their mortgage at their new home.
That's right.
So basically, they have no mortgage. They're still collecting.
No one pays your mortgage better than other people.
And so they still have someone on the other side that, they have those funds there. But what they did do is when they initially moved into they purchased the duplex, they did spend the money up front to fix it up. So that would obviously reduce the number of callbacks they would get throughout the month. So now, again, you have positive cash flow. Taxes and insurance will still be there. But they own now that duplex. They were able to pay that investment off, use those funds to pay for their mortgage. Now they're going to use a portion of that money there, pay their mortgage, and they're still going to pay off their current home even faster by putting more on the principal. We spoke a little bit about that on the radio, about, again, everything that you could do extra on your principal reduces how much money you have long term to be able to pay that debt back.
And I do want to say I appreciate Mrs. Shirley Orey for sharing the video as well. Hey, Tata, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. And these are all just opportunities right here in Jackson. We talked a little bit about just regular houses, rehab houses, right? Talk about, like, let's say you got a family, you're in an age, where you want to purchase a home and live in, not rent it out, just purchase, good economic house that's going to appreciate.
Okay.
And what are some of those opportunities that are here in Jackson?
So for those that want to go ahead and live in the house, again, not all about just investment, there are homes here. Again, you definitely want to, again, call me, we could talk about it. But the opportunity exists. Some of those homes will need some work, might need some paint, might need a little flooring. There may be some things, you might want to replace the tub. For ladies, I get it, we want clean tubs and, sinks and stuff. So you might want to invest in that. But those houses can go anywhere from $20,000, North Jackson, $30,000, $40,000. Now, again, when you're getting up a little bit in price, banks will definitely could lend you the money. They do want to see some money in the bank in order to do that. We spoke earlier about having that great relationship with the bank, and your banker would be able to help you with that process. There are actually some banks here whose jobs are to find you money for lower priced homes, low to moderate income homes. There's money out here, right here in Jackson, that you can do in order. There's money here that you can be able to get in order to get a home. Again, you do have to be able to, have some things in place, and we could talk a little bit one-off about that. But for the most part, there's money here. There's houses here. You just need to be able to have the want to be able to come here, live, and start working on those projects for your house.
Okay. And again, we're just having a conversation here, so if you got some questions about different properties and different things that you want to do here in Jackson, definitely put it in the comment section. This is Councilman Dekeither Stamps and broker Brandee Williams talking about opportunities here in Jackson, Mississippi that, that we want the people here to enjoy as well. Because I get calls from people all over the country and businesses all over the country about different properties and zoning, because when you start to purchase property and even commercial property, you want to see how it's zoned. Can I do this type of business there, that type of business? So we work through those issues on a day-to-day basis to help get get folks through to the right situation where they need it. And that's how the city works with folks in the private sector to get things done. Okay, and zoning is important. Like we've been talking about residential things, but on the commercial side, the commercial property is a great opportunity as well. Let's see, what about commercial property? What opportunities are there? I came in later, you're referring to certain areas in Jackson. Well, we're talking about different areas just around Jackson, but on the commercial side, even down north, the North Side Drive corridor, Ms. O'Ray, there are some commercial properties there that are, you know, prime for folks to purchase. Because we're to the point now where our population isn't gonna go down.
It's growing.
Anymore. Our population is growing downtown and all around town because there are not enough opportunities in other places. So
I'm going to address Henry's question. I was trying to pull my listing up, but Henry, there are, depending on what commercial properties, there obviously are several commercial properties here in the area. I'm not sure what commercial business you're looking for or you have a need for, but there's obviously a lot of properties here from the commercial side. I just had an email about real estate, I can't remember all of the details, I literally just skimmed it, but it was a commercial investment property here in Jackson that's for sale. It was reasonably priced. So it depends on where you want to be and what your business is and, you know, the room, but there's definitely commercial buildings here. Obviously, we talked about zoning. We can definitely talk about that one off as well, but the zoning, depending on what you're trying to do, is here. And Dekeither obviously is good with making sure that we can make sure if there is some challenges, he will definitely help us as well. But in terms of commercial, that's there. Aaron, just to answer your question, okay. There's obviously homes here. If I'm going to pull up a couple listings here just to give you an idea of Jackson in terms of the real estate side, and then let you see what you could pay for less than $20,000 in Jackson right now. So I'm pulling it up, and just bear with me just a second.
And again, so I'm looking to open a business in Jackson, retail, warehousing. How many square feet, Henry, are you looking to? Are you looking for? And then what type of traffic are you looking for? What type of business is it? That'll help me get you in a mindset. Get me in a mindset of what area to steer you towards. Because we got some great high traffic areas that I feel are hugely underserved. The Highway 18 corridor. The reason Highway 18 was never developed properly is because there never would have been a Clinton or a Byram to the degree that we know it today if Highway 18 was developed properly. And that's why people push against developing Highway 18. But I'm in the business of developing Highway 18 because that's an economic corridor that we own. We don't share the economy with anyone. County Line Road, you know, it's split in half. 49, it cuts off. But Highway 18 is a great corridor. It says retail about 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. There is a property right in front of Lowe's was $160,000.
Yeah, I can definitely look that up for you, Henry. It's definitely some retail space here in Jackson with that square footage, and it's reasonably priced. I mean, I know the city. What kind of is there some incentives in terms of the city?
Well,
in terms of retail?
one of the best ones right now is the properties that are right across from the King Edward, the lofts over there. They're built for commercial downstairs and an apartment upstairs. So if we got any solopreneurs out there who want to have I think it's about 2,000 square feet downstairs and about 1,500 square feet upstairs. So basically you could live upstairs and have your business downstairs. If you don't want to do that, you can just have a business downstairs and rent the apartment to somebody else if you just want to operate that way. But that's one of the ones that comes to the top of my head. But even on the Highway 18 corridor, there are several properties that are for sale. And I want to talk about that corridor a little bit specific right now because the opportunities there are huge. You have about 40,000 cars floating by there every day. Walmart just invested $8.5 million into rehabbing the Walmart there. Lowe's just invested a couple $1 million into that area. And the city of Jackson took the money that we get from Grand Gulf Nuclear Plant. The Grand Gulf Nuclear Plant has an evacuation route, and Highway 18 is that evacuation route. Sends the city of Jackson $1.6 million a year for that evacuation route. But the city has been doing other things with the money up until this year. We wrote an ordinance to take those funds and put them specifically in that corridor. So now there is money to go behind different types of development. So let's look at property. Well, that's how you create those opportunities. Along the Highway 18 corridor and over behind the Metro Center. And the Metro Center area, that census tract was dormant for a long time. And when we came in office in 2013, the Metro Center was bank owned. So folks didn't want to rent retail space inside the Metro Center. So what we did was we did an economic empowerment zone overlay district for that area, which opened it up for new market tax credits. And then when it became open for new market tax credits, it immediately got sold because people wanted to have the ability to apply for those tax credits. Then it brought in folks like Next Level Experience, put $1 million into that facility, and several other businesses have reinvested into the Metro Center. There are 52 businesses in the Metro Center right now. Champs, Hibbett Sports, Foot Locker, and several more. Right? And there are more folks that are looking at reinvesting in it as well. And so now with those two pieces of legislation, hopefully, I'll be straight honest, and I want to put the Jackson State Football Stadium between the Metro Center and I-20, because you will never have a traffic problem. Trying to put a stadium on campus is problematic, because first off, who's going to pay for the infrastructure to get that traffic out of there? But you use the stadium 5 times a year. So let's put the students on campus. We got students in Jackson State living all over town. Let's put the students on campus. You got students on Ridgewood Road, you got folks in the medical mall, you got folks, living in these hotels. I know I got a child in college. I would not be sending my child live in a hotel. I want my child on a campus.
Now, let's talk about that. Now, 2 things on that. Number one, I did look it up like I told you I would. With regards to $20,000 houses in Jackson, there are about 35 of them that I could tell you about. Literally, I just looked at a couple in 9 streets, Cooper Road, Forest Hill, just to name a few. But at the end of the day, these are $20,000 houses. To your point, you have students here. Now, nothing against, my brother attends Mississippi State University, has all his degrees there. I just talked to someone about this. But let's just say you buy houses around or near the campus of Jackson State.
Right. And there are a lot of them.
Oh my goodness, why not rehab them and rent them out to the students of Jackson State? Okay. Mississippi State, they literally are busting at the seams because there's not enough dormitory or housing for these students. And it's the same thing in Jackson. For you to have a child and have to live in a hotel, I'm with you. My children you're not living in a dorm. Mommy's not going to allow it. I mean, a hotel. You got to go to a dorm, have that experience. But that's because, again, we spoke about this earlier. There is not enough housing here, decent housing, and there's the opportunity here, but there's not enough people who want to do the labor to get it done. And that's a great opportunity to be in. People are literally coming to our city. They are taking over. They live out there. Everyone doesn't even live. People don't even live here, but they're reaping the benefits by just investing in real estate.
And then real estate's here. So, definitely give your contact information.
You all can definitely give me a call. My phone number is 601-454-2370. You can also email me. It's kind of long, but it's Brandee, BRANDEE, .Williams with an S at NelsonRealtyGroup.net.
And we tagged her in the video, so y'all
can
hit her on Facebook, inbox, I'm sure she'll be
And I do have a website. It's BrandeeWilliams.com. Really simple.
It looks like Exit really just taking care of business in Jackson. Get out of here.
Yes.
So now there are opportunities. Student housing.
Yes.
Seniors facility. My ward is about 65% seniors, and those seniors definitely need.
That's another. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
I mean,
it's a whole other topic. So when I talked about, we need housing at all levels. Business is driven off of supply and demand.
Thank you.
Need is important. So look at these different needs and see how you can play in the economic wealth building of servicing that need.
Correct.
Right? And that's what we're trying to start the conversation about today. How can you participate in the economic wealth building of servicing these needs?
Somebody's calling me now.
Well, leave a message if you're calling right now.
I'm about to get back. Yeah, but to your point, I mean, there's so many levels to be able to get in this, and you just, I don't know. Oh, yes, my watch picked it up. Okay, that's what happens when you go live. But there's so many levels in terms of getting into this, from student life. You could, if that's what your passion is, you're good with that. You don't mind, that part of the real estate. Get into that. Get into, like you said, senior living. Get into that portion. Obviously, just if you want to just be just for people who need, you can have all your, most of your homes, let's half cash, half HUD. There's people who need homes at no matter what the level is. Again, you can definitely look for our agents at Exit Nelson Realty. We'll be more than happy to be able to help assist you in your home buying needs. No, we're not limited to just Jackson, but we have a passion for Jackson. We have a passion to grow Jackson, to rebuild Jackson, and to show people that Jackson is a great place to live. It has plenty of opportunities and plenty of people who want to see Jackson grow.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I didn't even pay her to say that. Yeah, I didn't even pay her to say that. And that's important. We have to start viewing ourselves as the solutions
Correct.
to our problems.
Yeah.
We kind of sit on the sidelines a lot of times and say, what different folks aren't doing,
Correct.
and why they aren't doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
But we are the solution.
Yeah. And I think the other point to that is, I know people say a lot about Jackson, but at the end of the day, you can move to these other areas, and you think because you visit there, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be this and that, and it might be. But let's talk about again your living. You go to these places, and what these houses cost, you're going to be like, I didn't spend this much when I lived in Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $300,000 easily just to have a house that you can like. Well, it wasn't that bad in Jackson, Now, not only that, I just had a conversation with a friend of mine that lives in Atlanta, and he is either 17 or 21 miles from home to work. And literally, you know how much time he spends in the car?
How long did you get home?
An hour and 25 minutes.
One way?
One way.
So he spends 3 hours a day?
Every day.
In a car?
In a car.
No wonder folks are making cars in the entertainment system.
And I said, what do you do for them? And he said, I do everything. I pay bills. I be looking up stuff online. He said, I'm literally sitting in this traffic, like bumper to bumper, not moving for 7. Like I said, let's just say 21 miles. Literally an hour and a half.
What?
One way.
Get out of here.
I'm like, that's crazy.
If you told me.
I didn't believe it. He said he wishes he can come back to Mississippi. He was like, because it doesn't take all that. And he was like, I can't, but my wife doesn't want to move back to Mississippi because she's not from Mississippi. So, but he was like, I wish I could come back home. So I say that to say, you think about Mississippi sometimes in terms of being all bad. Go to some of these cities. I'm from, Chicago. Go during our rush hour. Go where it's cold. You have to bundle yourself up. Go, literally. We are in a central place. We can fly to Chicago. We can go to New Orleans, Atlanta, Houston, centrally located. And I'm sure you're working on getting a direct flight for me back to Chicago. But we'll talk about that later on. But I'm saying that to say, at the end of the day, I mean, we're not necessarily, it's not all bad in Jackson. We have to really, change our mindset about Jackson. But more importantly, get involved in our community. Not talk about this is wrong, this is wrong. Yes, there's things wrong with any city. What are we going to do to fix it? And I think that's the important part about it.
And you're totally right, because I want you to be a part to making this money.
Right.
There are people out there who's going to be broke in 20 years. I don't want to be one of them. If you sit back and watch things happen, be a part of making some things happen for you and your family, because I really care about your finances going forward, because there are opportunities out here that you need to take advantage of, because other people are, and I see them all the time. We have all this fancy conference call stuff and video stuff because folks are calling us and want to talk to us video conferencing from across the world, buying property in Jackson.
Yep.
And that's why I had to immediately just stop and say, let's start talking about this with the folks who are here.
We literally have people who are literally FaceTiming me to look at a property FaceTime.
Right.
They don't live here. They're in California. But they're like, okay, what time we can coordinate this? And we coordinate the time. And I'm literally going out to show this property via FaceTime. From entry, filming it. I mean, it looks weird, but they can't be here. They can't just fly in for just this. So they can still make their own judgmental calls just from California, just from FaceTime, to his point. In the comments is our website, is my contact information. Thank you, Fabian, for posting it. And you can definitely reach out to us, and we'll definitely walk you through it. But the opportunities for Jackson are here. We just need people that want to be able to, thank you. Okay, Aaron, I'll be looking forward to talking with you.
Hey, and you're right. Like-minded people should come together. We have to rise above our lower level differences, and most of our differences are lower level to me, right? In the conversation about long-term growth creation, most of us want the same thing.
Yeah.
We want to make some money and hand a better situation down to our children.
Correct.
So let that be the starting point of everybody in the conversation. Yeah, you might not like the way I do that, or I might not like the way you do that, or a comment here, or a comment there, or even purple. Right? But right. But let's put that at a lower level and say, okay, around your little social circles, or you're maybe having your mojitos or whatever, let's talk about getting this money. Because other people, that's their conversation. They're not talking about the marriage rate. They're talking about getting paid.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. You have a lot of, I know in Jackson State, again, I attended Jackson State, I always love. So, but one thing I remember having you have those committees that came together, and you had a finance club. Mm-hmm. Start a finance club. Why not start a finance club with some of the people that you do? There's book clubs. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about it. Who has a finance club? Maybe we should have that one day. Right. We can go set out Jocko's Tacos, anybody in Jackson, and go support having a finance club to talk about, financing and getting into real estate and how to get there. There's definitely things we could talk about from a financing standpoint, but you got to get into the conversation. And I think it just starts with if you don't have the information, you need to know, contact us. We'll be more than happy to work with you. But it just starts with the educating of it. It's not necessarily a hard process. You just have to have the want and the desire to change your place where you are from a financial standpoint. But not only that, as it was stated earlier, you want to impact the community. It is what it is. Start with where you are right now, and then go from there.
I got another testimony.
Here we go.
There were some sisters who lived in an apartment complex, and all of them were unemployed, basically living off of the different subsidies and things, right? Passing around boyfriends, fighting, and all kinds of foolishness, right?
Okay.
All right. So the apartment complex has 8 houses. It's 4 on the bottom level, and you go up, and it's 4, and it's in my ward, right off Clinton Boulevard, and so these sisters got together, and we were going door to door about 2 years ago, doing little surveys with folks. And they were out there just fussing and stuff, so we got to working with them. And we said, well, who is the best cook? And this sister here, who said she's the best cook? And we said, okay, who has the most education and skills? And these other 2 sisters had a higher degree of education and skills than the rest, right?
Okay.
And so what it did was, everybody, the ones who had the more skills, went looking for jobs and left the children with one sister.
Okay.
The other sister did all the cooking, right?
Okay.
And they basically had a little daycare village situation going on. And now all of them have moved out, but for the first year, they worked together in this one apartment building, working with kids, basically had their own pre-K program.
Collaboration.
Right there in their one building, right? And they got one Wi-Fi, and all of them shared the password. And
so they can save money.
They can save money, right? And got their stuff together. And they lived like that and worked together, They paid the sister who was doing the cooking some money every month. And they paid the sister who was teaching the kids in the daycare. They just worked that together. So they were able to get themselves out of their situation. And they're still friends today. I saw 2 of them over at Jackson Cash and Carry, working. So there are ways to get through these things if we choose to just say, okay, what do I have? What do I have to work with?
Correct.
And a lot of times, situations will put several folks in alignment to work together. Sometimes your situation will put you in a position where, hey, we got to stop fussing and fight. We got to work together. We got to work this thing out. And that's kind of where we are in Jackson. as a city,
Yeah.
we actually got to stop fussing and fighting and work this thing out, because we're not going to be able to elect our way out of this problem. We're going to have to work our way out of this problem. I know you got to go.
Now that's my number.
Yeah, you said your number out there. Everybody's calling you.
Yeah, no, and I'm fine with that. No, I'm just trying not to be to disturb people. But at the end of the day, our conversation really was, again, to educate you. And again, there's so many other avenues. There's so many things we could talk about. But at the end of the day, it just starts with you having a desire to want to change Jackson. If you want to change Jackson, if you want to get in the movement of real estate in terms of buying property, in terms of being an owner and not necessarily a borrower, then contact us. If you have questions from a commercial standpoint to residential, we can definitely handle all of your real estate needs. And then once you get ready to sell it, and let's say we can handle that as well. So we do it all. So definitely make sure you give us a call. We'll be more than happy to work with you. And even from the education piece that we've been having here, we want to see people educated and, again, help you understand that this process is not scary. There's a lot of bad information out here as it relates to home ownership, the process, the what's in the house. I'm here to help you out and make it easy for you, talk to you in layman's terms, give you the resources. Again, there's money out here for even some of your for homes that you may not even thought that could be done. If you're owner occupant and you want to be able to purchase a home, there's money out there for it. We can talk one off in terms of the specifics, in terms of your credit, what that process looks like, but there is money here. You just need to be able to have the desire, again, to want to start and change your living arrangements and your economic situation.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap this up. We've been here for a while now. I appreciate everyone who tuned in and stuck with us through our technical difficulties in the beginning. We went live like 4 times.
I know.
And it kept crashing.
I think they didn't want us to tell you about that, but we had a desire to do it. Aaron, thank you so much. I'm glad you tuned in too. Again, you never know. We might have to do this again. I'm sure we may have a lot of feedback on, again, another process in terms of how to continue to make this a conversation. It's not so, I think at some point we didn't have a lot of these conversations. I've had to learn, he has to learn. But one thing we can say that is certain is that it does help, and it does help with someone that can educate you so you can make better decisions to be able to make the best decision for you, and not only that, but your family as well.
Okay. Well, we love y'all. God
thank
bless.
You, Fabian.
Hey, thank you, Fabian and Evelyn Moses for tuning in, and everyone else who did. And I appreciate y'all. But also, make sure you share the video just to start a conversation. That's what this is all about, was just starting a conversation about how can I be a part of the solution versus just talking about the problem. Because your long-term wealth creation is the solution to the generational issues of poverty and things that we have here in Mississippi. So thanks a lot. This is Dekeither Stamps. Have a great day. And remember, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own people, you're part of the very oppression that we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.